Fellas, I come to you with the displeasure of the worst decks I have ever had the displeasure of playing in this format. This is NR format Giant Ballpark. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a brief card discussion about what these cards did historically, a little bit of a card by card deck breakdown, and of course, some of that sweet gameplay. And with that, let's get right into the news. Giant Ballpark is a card released in 2018 that honestly reads like a custom card printed in 2007. It's a field spell that reads, during damage calc, if a player would take battle damage, you can make neither player take any battle damage from that battle, and if you do, send one level 4 or lower insect monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then, if you send a normal monster this way, you can special summon any number of monsters with the same name as that monster from your hand, deck, and or graveyard. If a monster you control is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon one insect normal monster from your graveyard, and you can only use each effect of Giant Ballpark once per turn. I don't think I really need to explain why a card that says summon 3 vanilla beaters from your deck might be a little bit busted, but this deck honestly didn't see too much incredible play. One, the main problem is that the deck kind of was completely consolidated into resolve Giant Ballpark or you will die, and two, you can't really go first with this deck. However, thanks to some NR format deck building help from Ultimaya, Alphared's editor, and Guilty Gear Strive OST uploader, it took me 10 years to find the answer to something. Hey man, I'd do the same thing too. We are effectively to, in theory, create a well-oiled machine of field spell control and OTKs out of nowhere thanks to the cards available in this format, as well as the much lower power ceiling of decks overall. And with that, let's get into the card by card. We're playing 3 Shiny Black Sea Squatter. This is our main summon off of the Giant Ballpark. Next up, we are playing 3 Goki Pull and 1 Killer Needle. The Goki Pull's effect is if it's sent to the graveyard, by any card effect by the way, you can add 1 level 4 insect monster from your deck to your hand, then if it's a normal monster, you can special summon it, then destroy 1 monster on the field with attack greater than or equal to that special summon monsters. We're playing Killer Needle because it's the lowest attack insect monster. We're next playing 1 Battle Wasp Pin the Bullseye. It's a free special, so we're playing it at 1 because it is a hard once per turn. Ideally, we could play it at 2, but I don't have 2 hollows, so I'm just going to cope and say that 1 is correct. Anyways, we're playing 3 Azectomy, the Worm Warrior, another free special, and because we're playing field spell control, we are playing 1 Planet Pathfinder. For additional insect good stuff, we are playing 3 Residence Insect, who, if it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add a level 5 or higher insect monster from your deck to your hand, whose our target is Gadarla. You know, the fucking kaiju. And if it's banished, say off of an Azectopede, we can send 1 insect monster from our deck to the graveyard. Most notably, it's going to be the Goki Pull, just to get a free add or pop. Next, for the dangers, because we're playing a blind second strategy, we are playing 1 Danger Chupacabra, who is pretty okay in this sort of strategy. Being able to revive like a Dogman is pretty neat. 3 Danger Mothman, who is searchable off of the Goki Pull because it is an insect. 3 Danger Dogman, who is terrible but weirdly okay in this because we need the names, and the attack boost is great for OTKing. The attack drop, whatever. 3 Danger Thunderbird because it is the objectively best NR Danger. For blind second options, we're playing 1 Vishada, and of course 3 Mystical Space Typhoon because MST is kind of cracked. And weirdly enough, we're playing 3 Parallel Xe. This card is like a little bit cope, but I find it really funny, so I'm going to be playing it. Like, just imagine. The link material, chat. It's crazy. We can also make Malisin, which is good for cleaning up certain board states. Finally, we're playing the 3 Giant Ballpark, of course the heart and soul of the deck. If you do not see this card, you are probably going to lose. And 3 Generator Boss Stage and the 1 Utgarda. This deck has no plan going first, and I don't want to die, so, I guess we're just sitting on Utgarda Pass. Shout out to Dyer. For the extra deck, it is hot garbage. We are playing 1 Black Ship of Corn, spot removal, 1 number 104 Masquerade. This card is technically playable because we can make it using the 3 Shiny Black Sea Squatters, which is really funny. It's not good, but, you know, it's funny. One number 82 Heartland Draco to attack directly, one number 52 Diamond Crab King just as a big booty and a big smacker, one Gagaga Samurai for hitting really hard, two Malevolent Sin because it's objectively the best rank 4 in the format, one to clear our opponent's board and to get to specific life thresholds, is the second one to help close out games, one Imduk the World Chalice Warrior who is basically like the world's worst shit-all construct. Anyways, one Monk of the Tenyi for the Vachetta we are playing, one Gravity Controller just as spot removal, one Defender of the Labyrinth. This card is weirdly good in this deck. It boosts your non-effect monsters by 500 and it drains your opponent's effect monsters by 500 and it floats into non-effects, which is usually going to be like a squad W. Anyways, we're playing one Shinobi Insect, Haga Kurame, I don't know Japanese. All you need to know is that like it floats sometimes. It's not good, but it's funny. Anyways, we're playing one Geonator Transverser because it is NR format, one Triple Burst Dragon to deal with pesky floaters and Metal Foes counters, and one Berserker of the Tenyi in order to, you know, beat our opponent to death. And with that, let's get into that sweet, sweet gameplay. Our match is going to be against Gadget Raider, Dire in Shambles. This is a weird version of the deck where we are playing Lightning Vortex. Don't play it, it's terrible. Our opponent is going to normal summon a gold gadget and go into a yellow gadget. They are going to add the green gadget, and they are not really going to be ending on a whole lot. They're going to go into heavy armor train Iron Wolf, who floats upon destruction, and set 3 back row and pass. The classic Gadget Raider experience. We're going to draw a Resonance Insect off the top, not terrible. We're going to use the effect of Thunderbird, we're going to pitch the Exceed, rest in peace. We're going to draw a Forbidden Chalice, and we're going to get Bottomless Trapple. Not that big of a deal because we do have the Dogman. Dogman is going to pitch the Chalice, and it's going to draw us another Thunderbird. That's pretty neat. Thunderbird is going to pitch itself. It's going to use its Graveyard effect in order to destroy a back row, and that is a Jelly Cannon. That might have gone very wrong. We're going to go into Shinobi Insect card name, and off of the Resonance Insect, we're going to grab a Godarla. We're going to banish the guy for a Goki Pole, and we're going to use the Goki Pole to search out the Killer Needle, who gets a free special. We're not going to pop because we don't want to trigger its effect, because we could just go into Triple Burst Dragon, but the third back row proved to be a Paleozoic that's going to remove our guy, and we're just going to Kaiju over it and pass. Zektabede just kind of chilling. Our opponent's going to go straight to the battle phase and hit over our Zektabede, very, very sad, but we're not really in too much of a dire strait, as you might say. They're just going to set one and pass, they're going to pass it over to us, and we have found the Giant Ballpark. I just sure hope our opponent doesn't read this card and it tries to attack us directly. So our opponent tries to attack us directly, and because of that, we are able to take 0 battle damage and summon 3 squad Ws from our deck. Shout out to Trainwrecks. Anyways, we are going to get the turn passed over to us, and we draw a Forbidden Chalice, which isn't really doing too much. We are going to go into Defender of the Labyrinth. Yeah. Anyways, Giant Ballpark is going to help us send the Goki Pole. We just kind of want the ad at this point because we're kind of playing a resource game because a resource deck. We're going to crash into the Godarla that we gave them and smack them for 14 off of the Defender. We're going to set a Forbidden Chalice and pass it over to our opponent. I'm feeling pretty good about this. They are going to not really get too much accomplished. They are just going to set one and pass. Turn change is over to us. We're going to draw a Mothman off the top, which isn't bad at all. We're going to use the Zektabede bench, the Goki Pole, and swing in with Defender. We're just going to set a Goki Pole to get another add. We're going to add another Zektabede just for, again, follow up, and in case we need to make a Maui Sin out of nowhere with the Mothman and Zektabede out of hand. We're going to swing for 25 and 19. A Zektabede is going to mill a Bottomless off the top of the deck. God bless it wasn't a Paleo. We are going to pass it over to them. They're going to draw a card, and they're going to normal summon a gold gadget, but because of the Forbidden Chalice we drew a couple of centuries ago, that is going to turn off their gadgety friend. Gold gadget is going to go to 1600, but unfortunately that's not going to do it, and same with the writing on the wall, they are going to scoop it up. So what did we learn today, class? That Field Spell Control is actually just the best deck and better than Metal Foes? Yeah, probably not, but let's get into the pros and cons. 1, this deck is really fun to play. If you just want like a deck where you can just turn your brain off and just summon 3 squad Ws out of your deck, this deck is perfect for you. It's got a lot of cool synergies going on underneath the hood. It's got a lot of funny things it can do. It's got a lot of tech slots where you can put in stuff like Chalice and whatever. It's just a funny ass deck. 2, this deck has a really funny time putting out really powerful rank 4 monsters. This is obviously nothing close to Gadget Raider, but even Gadget Raider struggles to make something as impactful as a fucking Masquerade. Like, I don't know, squad up, I guess. And 3, like I mentioned earlier, this deck has a lot of super neat synergies within the deck, especially with the insects. You've got Gokipole being able to trigger stuff such as the Killer Needle. Resonance Insect can be triggered off of the Insectipede. The Planet Pathfinder can search you the Generator boss stage in Ugarda, the secret win con of the deck, but we just cope and pretend it's Giant Ballpark. There's just so much stuff that insect support and just generic NR bullshit that you are able to just cram into the shell, that you're able to have a lot of fun when it comes to just the overall deck building process and what you want to put into the deck. And the cons. 1, this deck immediately loses if you do not find the field spell. Obviously, you can kind of cope and say that Generator boss stage is good enough, but if with only one target in the deck, as well as the fact that Giant Ballpark is literally the name of the deck, you kind of need to find Giant Ballpark. And because we don't have cards like Metaverse, multiple Planet Pathfinders, Terraforming, Set Rotation, etc., we unfortunately are just kind of locked into open the Ballpark or play bad insect control. 2, this deck loses to a dearth of back row. A lot of more generic decks in this format, stuff such as maybe Melfi or Yosen Kaiju, they are playing a lot of stuff that really just completely destroys your strategy. Stuff like Sword Sting, Torrential Tribute, and especially Mystical Space Typhoon will absolutely ruin your day. And 3, if you don't OTK, you are fucked. This deck needs to kill your opponent in one shot, and unless your opponent is just completely out of resources or you guys are in a simplified game state, this deck can very easily just end up passing on, you know, Masquerade. That's not great. But overall, if you want just like a fun deck to play, if you want to just have some fun, grind out some goofy matches to your 10k medals, pick up this deck. It's fun. I had a blast on stream trying it out. And yeah, go Bugs. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Stevie Blunder. If you want to see more decks like this, comment that in the comment section down below what you really want to see, what changes you've made to this sort of deck. And yeah, it's going to be it for me. See ya.